topic is intercultural issue and flexible reports. And nowadays, under the influence of globalization, intercultural difference are becoming more and more obvious. So the use of intercultural communication and the awareness of communication, intercultural communication is very important for us, especially for some social and business occasions. Here's my outline. First one is intercultural issue and its context. Second one is cultural influence on perception. And third one is barriers to intercultural communication. And the fourth is non-verbal communication. And fifth is language as a barriers. And next is business communications. And last thing is applicable intercultural viewpoints. And I will give you a conclusion part. For the first one, intercultural issue and its context, which means the connection of two or more than two cultures. And there are some factors need to intercultural issues, because people live in different countries, they have different languages, and they have different educational system, and they have different customs, or they have different religion beliefs. So that's a reason cause to these issues. Here are some issues like cultural conflict, because we have different cultural backgrounds, so when we are communicating, we are easy to have a cultural conflict or some misunderstanding. The second one is cultural influence. Oh no. Oh sorry. Cultural influence on perception. Culture have a great influence on our perception, and in these four aspects, like language habits and living habits and social habits and cognitive and thinking patterns. We have different mother language. We're using different vocabulary, and we have different living habits, like the food. We're eating different food, and we're eating in different times. For example, like China, we like some delicious food, like hot pot, and some deep fried food dishes. But in some Western countries, they like pizza, pasta, or some hamburgers. These simple dishes. And clothing, and because we have different customs, so we wear the different clothes. And some social habits, it means we have to communicate with others, like colleagues or some or friends or our families or strangers. And the last one is about your value, because we have different cultural background. People who have different cultural background have different values. So this one is barriers to intercultural communication. It can be divided into 6 aspects. The first one is assumption of similarities. It means people have their own cultural background. They think there must be some similarities between different cultures, but I think it's not the right thinking way, because different cultures have different lots of different aspects. So some assumptions is not right. Like language varies, because language is a basis of communication. So language barriers will be the biggest barriers to the intercultural communication. And for language misinterpretations, it's like we have different gestures or different facial emojis, um, and even the same gestures or emojis in different countries, in different culture situations, like different meaning. So it's easy for us to misunderstand the other's thinking way. The next is stereotypes and prejudice. It's like some people think their culture are the best culture, and they reject to accept others' cultures. They think their culture is the right thing, and others they cannot accept it. The next is a ethnocentrism. It's like people think their own culture in their country is like more superior to other countries' culture. They think their culture is the best and good, and it's better than others. And the next one is high anxiety, and it means when people communicate with others with different culture background, and they may become nervous, or they don't know how to speak, and they even don't know whether others can understand their talking well or not. And the next is nonverbal communication, and definition is like it includes facial emojis or body language or eye contact or even tones, because different nonverbal communication can express different meaning. And like it's kind of way to judge personality and moral thoughts. And they have different meaning in different cultural background. Like Samsung is like in China, it's like show someone well done or they're doing good. And but in New Zealand or Australia, it's like I want you pick me up. And okay, it means in China it means this thing is well done or something like that. But it in Korea or Korea or Japan, it means money. Language as varies. It's like a basis of communication. And sorry, I typed wrong. Is mother language different? Mother language different in different cultural background, and it's easy to produce culture constructions and conflicts. And for example, like people travel and study or work abroad, it's like the same words will have different meanings, different cultures. It's unable to experience their ideas clearly, and they may cause lose job or lose profits. And for communication, business communication part, it's occur at this situation like team cooperation or multi enterprise, and like work handover between boss and staff, and like transnational cooperation project and international work teams strategies. And here are some acceptable intercultural viewpoints in the context of identify intercultural issues. Dimension of culture, dominant culture patterns, authoritative culture patterns, contact between cultures, immigration and acceleration, and culture with cultures, and identity and subgroup. Dimension of cultures, like according to Hofstad, dimension of cultures theory, it can be divided into 6 aspects, like masculinity and femininity, and long-term orientation and short-term orientation, and also individualism and collectivism, something like that. And for dominant culture patterns, it's like in the world, some country have like Western countries have capitalism, but like China have socialism, and they want to build their culture between become the dominant culture. Alternative culture patterns like between some cultures there have some subcultures, like some young generations don't want accept the old generation old traditional cultures. They want develop a new cultures. Like contact between cultures, it means different cultures. They have a contact and they can have some changes or conflict between this process. And immigration acceleration means like Chinese immigrate to New Zealand, and they need to adopt the culture here, the custom here, and it's called acceleration process. And culturalism culture is similar with alternative culture patterns. It's like they have subcultures. Identity and subgroups, it means everyone is like in intercultural communication situation. It's like they have their own identity and they have their own like small group, because like similarity and people which have similarity and they can divide into a small group, a single group. Yeah, that's all.
Any question, please?
Yeah. As you mentioned, in our daily life and work or study, same words have different meaning and cause problem. Could you give me an example? Sorry. In our daily life, work or study, you mentioned like same words has different meanings and cause problem. Do you have any example of this?
Same words?
Same words.
Like okay. Like the okay that you mentioned.
Yeah. Like church. Like church in New Zealand, church means thanks. But in China, based on our English culture background, we know it's just like drink together and celebrate together. So it's quite different. So in different culture background, yeah.
What will be your main strategy to overcome intercultural miscommunication?
Strategy in intercultural communication. Here's basically here are my strategy in intercultural communications. Like when you communicate with people who have different cultural background, you can improve your awareness of different cultures, their cultures. You can know first or search or make a study or research on their cultures, and you can avoid some embarrassment and or some cultural conflicts, and you can respect and implement their culture diversity.
Okay, thank you very much.